Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That makes me the co-host with the most from the coast with the most here on the Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, you look all lonesome, like you've been by yourself the last couple of days.
Oh, no. Most definitely have not been by myself. I'm actually in Southern California in San Diego at the California School Boards Association Conference. Been here since, I got here Tuesday evening. Just enjoying things here with the wife and having a good time.
You said enjoying things with the wife. Well, good for you. You're one of those guys. All right, good for you. Yeah.
No, we have a very good time. San Diego is we do San Diego every other year. They do it here every other year, so it's just a nice way to kind of get away and I do some business and she enjoys San Diego.
What's the weather like there right now?
It was scheduled to be overcast most of the week. The day we got here, it was sunny. Wednesday, it was sunny, sunny and cool. 60s, mid to low 60s. Then a couple of days it was overcast, but no rain. So
Best weather in the country, right there in San Diego. Every day, you just
oh yeah.
want good weather. Just see what San Diego's doing.
Well, I tell people San Diego is what everyone thinks California is. It's like, beaches and, comfortable weather and sunny skies. That's not most of California.
Yeah, awesome baseball park there too. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's right across the way. You can actually see it from a hotel.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. So what have you been up to, sir?
Well, let's see. On what was it? Wednesday was an absolute internet outage, so was not able to do anything Wednesday. Did some recordings, but couldn't communicate them with anyone. And then you and I yesterday were just unable to the flight schedules and your convention schedule, unable to make it happen. But here we are today.
We are here today because we love you guys. Dear. Speaking of those whom we love, let's give a shout out to our sponsors.
Heck yeah. Let's start with Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the last 5 years, probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Now you can get one for your own next build, or you can rebarrel the rifle you already have at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. You see the work they did this past election. Make sure you get with them and help them have the ability to help you during the next election. If you want some awesome field gear, tactical gear kind of stuff, make sure you get over to uscombatgear.com. And of course, holiday season around the corner. What a better place to get you some gifts for yourself and others at Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com, and use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get yourself a heck of a deal.
Mike, I wanted to just touch real bases real quick about the California Republican Assembly. There's a lot of people who are talking about how there was not a red wave. Well, there were a number of different areas, once again, here in the state of California, where Republicans were not projected to win. And we actually picked up a number of victories, and it happened in a lot of school board races here in California. So
there you go.
Big things happening, and in no small part to the folks over at the California Republican Assembly. Remember, check them out, cragop.org. That's cragop.org, as well as the rest of our sponsors. Their links to their websites are in the description to this program. So we've made it real simple for you. All you got to do is click. Go there, check them out. If you like what you see, give them some money, spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you.
Yeah, Craig, you just, not to get too far off, you mentioned school board races. I think school board races this time around were probably almost as significant as Trump putting judges into office. I mean, it was a red wave of conservatives taking over school board positions. I know here in Florida, a couple of the major school boards were taken over by conservatives, former or superintendents and chairmen fired, new people put into place, and old policies immediately thrown out. I mean, we're seeing that here in Florida because the governor had made that one of his priorities to get school boards back from the woke.
Folks, these are the people who are educating slash indoctrinating our kids. If we want to control the future, then we have to make sure that our children are being properly educated and given the opportunity to see, what America really is, not what the woke-tivists want you to believe. Just saying.
We actually had one of the school board chairs over in the Tampa St. Pete area, one of the big ones in the state here, and as soon as they elected the school board members, and the school board members then appointed their own chairmen, which were the new conservative electees, the school board chairman, the superintendent said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and resign. And the board said, no, you're coming to the meeting, we're doing this publicly.
They knew they were on their way out. And it's I don't know, man. It's just the problem is that when you have in many of these cases, you have a system that is failing over and over again, and yet it's trying to introduce this, once again, this woke-tivist stuff that does absolutely nothing but create division. It's time for them to go, and it's good to see them going, and now gone. Let me tell you something else that's interesting. Well, unfortunately, in California, we got a sweep. It was pretty much a clean sweep when it came to the statewide races. And one of those statewide races included the California Attorney General, Mr. Rob Bonta. Now, you may recall earlier in the year, there was a data breach. So in other words, they created this data dashboard for a bunch of different things, but it included data and information for people who've applied for concealed carry permits here in the state. Well, that got breached, right? They found out that all of that information was available to anyone who logged on, and so they were able to download the information, the data, the job, the occupation, the firearms types, the home address, place of business for every person, once again, who had applied for a concealed carry permit in the state of California. I don't know if it's ever, or at least for the last 10 years, but suffice it to say, about 192,000 individuals, gun owners, have had their data put out there, and it was. Here's the thing. So they did an investigation, and in the investigation they said that this is, by the way, this is the Associated Press, how they led the story. They basically said, well, the data breach was unintentional, meaning that no one at the Attorney General's office intended to release this data or information. Now, one, I still don't believe that. But here's what else I will tell you. And this is, Mike, this will tell you how much they bury the lead. What they tell you later in the article is that the information was downloaded over 2,700 times. 2,700 times this data was downloaded. So somewhere out there are 2,700 people who have access to our data and our information if you only have a concealed carry permit in the state of California. We're talking judges, we're talking former law enforcement, we're talking celebrities, elected officials, or just business, John Q. business owners and or gun rights activists. Your data, your information is now out there available to the public.
Yeah, listen, if you've got yourself a concealed permit there in California, you're about to get yourself 2,700 emails from a Nigerian prince asking you for help, because that stuff is out there in the public now. You're about to get the poop spammed out of you, and hopefully, what happens there doesn't happen like in New York a couple of years ago, where they got the information and published all the names of firearms owners in like Westchester County up there, against the law up there. But it's against the law there as well, I'm sure. But so's releasing the data, and nobody cares about that.
Well, Mike, what's a trip is, okay, so you either did this intentionally, right, as a political thing, or you were so incompetent that you just created a wide open back door, a hole so big that 2,700 people took advantage of it. I heads should roll. Period. There's no good explanation for what they did, for what happened. I now that this investigation has been done, I am hoping and I'm looking to some folks to these folks need to be sued because right now, once again, I have a concealed carry permit in California. Uh, my data is out there as far as I know. Well, I'm pretty sure it is, but the thing is now I'm in jeopardy. I'm at risk, all because these folks, who, by the way, the state of California in particular, the California Department of Justice, seems to find a way to screw up everything technologically based that they're supposed to do every single time. If it's a database, if it's a registration app or anything like that online, if it's a website, they always manage to screw it up.
Yeah, absolutely right. The only people that do worse is the Obamacare folks, right? They screw that data up enough.
They hire the same.
Yeah,
They've hired the same folks probably.
it's some Norwegian 14-year-old or something like that, whatever it was. Craig, hopefully you get some lawsuits out of this. Hopefully you'll get somebody that come in there and try and do a little spank down. But it's California again. My absolute belief is that nothing's going to happen. And the reason they printed it was just so that you couldn't come back later and go, "Hey, you released this stuff." They go, "No, we already told you about that. It was an accident."
Right? Yeah. No, we know it wasn't. I know. I'm pretty confident it was not. I would.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I am more likely to believe that they are evil than that they are that incompetent. Sorry, but that's the way I feel about Mr. Bonta and his administration.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right along, this is actually good news if you've been following gun sales. Now, you had President Biden who came out and said he wants to ban all assault weapons. By the way, this is the same guy who said he believes that it is outrageous, I say, that semi-automatic weapons are available for sale. By the way, he didn't specifically say semi-automatic rifles. He just said semi-automatic guns. But the administration is refusing to accept. They're saying, "Oh no, he's just talking about assault weapons. He's just talking about assault weapons." No. No, not the case. But anyway, this year on Black Friday, Mike, it was the third highest gun sales ever for a single day. The third highest Black Friday gun sales ever. It was the 10th highest single day of gun sales with background checks ever, Mike. I think that's a pretty big deal.
Listen, it's a huge deal because of the state of the economy, right? And the inflation and everything that's going on. Money is tight and money is short, and people have realized it's not getting better. I'm gonna go out there and take advantage of these rules. So scrounge up the cash wherever I can. I'm betting you, Craig, that in Oregon the numbers were through the roof on Friday. It's probably their single best day ever because they're facing losing all of their weapons. Here within the next couple of weeks, if the injunction's not granted for them, the Second Amendment Foundation's lawsuit.
Well, what the anti-gunners fail to understand is every time they start talking about guns or expanding gun control, people go out and literally promoting for firearms. Ever. Because all they ever do is they say, we're going to ban it. They never actually ban it, but people now already own it.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, it's one of those, like I said before, if they come along, the government says, we're not going to allow you to have cars anymore, like they're doing in some places. People go out and they buy, gas cars, because how dare they tell me I can't have a gas car, and whether they need one or not, they're going to get that second one and stick it in the garage. That's the same thing that's going on.
Well, exactly. And all I know is this Christmas season, especially with how crime has gone up, as well as now you've also got the Bruin decision. People are not only now going to be getting more guns, but they're going to be applying for their concealed carry permits as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just checking out some of those numbers from Oregon while we're talking, Craig. Their
Uh
Black Friday sales there were up 382% in Oregon on Black Friday.
huh. And we all know why. Because see, once again, every time you guys go to try and ban something, we
Yep.
start selling them. I mean, I still remember we went the week in which we had the magazine ban was lifted. California basically sold out the rest of the country. We bought out the rest of the country when it came to magazines. So
Yeah.
yeah, y'all keep doing those bans, and we'll have a whole lot of fun right here in making sure that the industry is doing quite well.
Yeah, listen, it's turning out that states like Oregon and California are going to be the most armed states around. Now, you might have different magazine capacities, but you guys are buying guns at a higher rate than anybody else in the country.
Yep, yep. Well, I was telling you, there are more guns in California than any other state in the country. Now, that's because there's way more people in California, but there's a lot of guns and a lot of gun owners here in the state of California. We're
Yeah,
just
that sounds like a
outnumbered by
great
both
fact.
of us.
That's one I want to research now. Just not that I doubt you, but I want to see what the states are with the
Right.
highest amount of guns. Because now remember, you got percentage of guns per
Right.
population. But
Exactly.
amount of guns is number. Yeah.
Okay, let's move along. We'll move away from guns on this next one. This is another sort of robbery, or a robbery that is out there that the left is pushing. The Biden administration is still pushing to get their student loan transfer. I call it transfer because they're not forgiving the student loans. They're forgiving it for the people who owe it, but then it's going to basically go over to all of us, the taxpayers. We're the ones that are going to wind up having to foot the bill. Well, now it appears that the Supreme Court, while they have rejected the president's attempt to allow the program to go forward while they make a decision, they have decided that they will actually hear the case. So they're going to sit down and they're going to hear the case regarding this. And quite frankly, I think that the legally the case is so bad against the administration. I'm actually surprised they're actually going to hear it. But I think that there's an important message that they want to send when it comes to executive authority and executive power that they are going to send when they strike down this program. At least that's the way I see it happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is again, we've talked about this. This was a program that was brought out right before the election to try and get those 18 to 20-year-olds, those students, to come out and vote, thinking that. And again, I'm sorry, it was buying of votes, but the thinking was they would get all of them to come out and vote. And now you have it, floundering. It's been struck down a couple of times, and it's going to go forward another level, and we're going to see. And I honestly think they're going to say, procedurally, Craig. Listen, not that. It's a bad idea to be involved with, ensuring that your youth grows up and gets an education, which is, by the way, not a right in this country for after primary school. So college is not a right afforded to you. That's been held over and over. But I think they're going to say you can't executive order this. You can't write a piece of paper and dictate how the Congress and the deficit increase because you decide this spending is going to be done. And I think going on the procedural issues alone, the Supreme Court will just strike down the entire order.
Well, and you stole the words right out of my mouth. This is about a lot more than student debt forgiveness. If they want to forgive student debt, there's a way you do it. You put it through Congress. Right? That's where the power of the purse is. You pass a law and then the president signs it into law. You don't get to, one, misuse a law that has nothing to do, something to deal with COVID? Really? The military and COVID is what you're going to use in order to do this? No. You don't get to just executive order this stuff. And that's exactly what you said. Right. You don't get to legislate from the executive. If you want to legislate, go back to the Senate. But you don't get to do it. You don't get to do it even in the White House. And I really do believe that this is going to, the only reason they took it, because they could have just said, nope, we're not going to bother with it. And then the ruling of the lower courts, which have all been pretty much, yeah, no, you can't do this. would stand. So I think their goal is to send a message on this particular issue.
Yeah, exactly right. And that message is what the limits of the executive order are, and that's what you're going to see
Right.
probably come out of this case.
Well, and this president has done more executive orders than any president before him. Now, Donald Trump did a number of executive orders, and he did more than the average president, but that was largely because he was undoing a lot of the executive orders that were put in place by President Obama, who broke records compared to his predecessors. It just broke every record in the book, and now Joe Biden is he not wanting to be undone has asked Barack Obama to hold his beer.
There you go. Yep. Yep. Very true. And a lot of President Trump's orders were all within the legal grounds. He wasn't like you said legislating from the executive office. It was a lot of his stuff was like, oh look, it's it's National Parks Day or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, okay. So here's an interesting one now thing that has come up. So Joe Biden is now pushing to have the election calendar for the primaries kind of shuffled around, and he wants to push to have South Carolina of all states instead of Iowa. He wants to have South Carolina to be one of the, if not the first states they get a chance to vote. And now he is talking about this. He's saying we need to do this in order to promote diversity now and equity. And I'm like, well, first of all, the two most diverse states in the country are California and Texas. Why wouldn't you be pushing those states? I'm thinking there's a very different reason why he is pushing South Carolina, but I will let you chime in and tell me what you think.
Well, Greg, because I think if he tried to do California, I think the rest of the country would go, no, come on, nobody's going to take that vote seriously. We all know the number of illegal voters you have there, so nobody's going to take that seriously. Texas, obviously not, because we see that they're a bright red state, and then we'd never allow that. Iowa, we know where Iowa leans. We see where Iowa goes. The reason he wants South Carolina is because South Carolina is I think it's 27% African Americans, as opposed to Iowa, where it's under 4%. So he knows coming in there, he's going to immediately get a 20% bump on whatever he brings in because of just the letter next to everybody's name.
Well, and also keep in mind, Mike, that now once again we're talking about the Democratic primary because these are the primary races. That was the first state, because remember, he got drubbed in the first few states that he was in. And it wasn't until Jim Clyburn decided to endorse Joe Biden, and then he won the South Carolina primary, that he wasn't even in the running for the nomination before then. So you're right in that this has nothing to do with actual diversity. This has everything to do with setting himself up to have a good shot should he decide to run. He'll have a very good shot of at least getting out of the gate relatively quickly. I'm not against the idea of shuffling it around because I don't know, why should Iowa always be the first one? But the idea, though, that you're going to have it be South Carolina with the idea of creating diversity, I'm sorry. Let's also keep in mind that they chose to endorse an old, rich, white man. Doesn't sound like diversity to me.
Well, yeah, but remember, it's an old, rich white man that supports sending checks to the minorities there. That's the people that it's the handout. It's just like the student loan thing. I'm going to go get votes from people that I write checks to. If you tried to go into court, Craig, and say I'm an expert witness, or I'm complaining about this guy, and they found out, oh, you're bought and paid for by somebody else, it wouldn't work. It's a conflict of interest. But you get money from the government, big fat checks from the government. And I'm not talking about earned retirement benefits or anything like that, or your social securities or anything like that. I'm talking about, I'm not going to go get a job. I'm just going to take a check for not getting a job. That's buying votes. That shouldn't be allowed.
Right. No, but Unfortunately, sadly, it is allowed, and it's happening right in front of our face. And the interesting thing about the student loan debt thing is that he's now, they've won the midterm elections. He doesn't even need to come through on it. He just has to look like he is, like he's trying.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of stuff in voter reform and election reform that needs to be done. And I promise you, Craig, when I'm emperor for a day, I will take care of it.
I believe that. I do believe that. All right, let's start to move on to our parting shots. Our first parting shot, well, in the honor of the FIFA World Cup, as well as, the 192,000 concealed carry permit applicants who are going to be getting stuff from a request from Nigerian princes. That's going to give us his first story. You want to go ahead and read this one, or describe this one to the folks who are just listening?
Sure. It's picture of the Nigerian, football team. They're posing for their team photo, and it says, "The Nigerian football team were so disappointed with Saturday's performance that they have said they will personally refund all expenses to fans who travel to support them. All they need you to do is send your bank details, your codes and pins, and they will transfer the money directly to you."
You know that there are people. There are people who, if they got that email, even if they didn't travel there, they'd be like, "Is this real?" I don't know who falls for these things.
I was at one of my organizational meetings the other day, and there was a woman doing some paperwork, and she was just signing a form that had to be turned in, and she said, "Do you need anything else?" And I said, "I need your mother's maiden name, your bank number, and your routing number." And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Well, I would just take a copy of the front and back of your debit card. That would work also." And she wandered away, and I thought, all right, well, she didn't think it was funny. And she came back 5 minutes later with her debit card and handed it to me. And I was like, okay, all right, I've got to stop doing this. I've got to stop messing with people. So
some folks are not that bright. Kind of like the owner of this sign. This is hilarious. This is so it's basically a garbage truck, and in the back of the garbage truck, you can see a Beto O'Rourke for Texas. Beto O'Rourke for Texas is his sign. He's running for governor.
Yep.
You can see somebody just throw away his sign. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but it does.
It's great. It shows you what his campaign was worth.
Pretty much. I mean, he spent a lot of money and really had absolutely nothing to show for it.
No.
Lost real bad. All right, so this next one, so this is actually a real story, folks. In San Francisco, they decided that they want to now start to employ robots in potentially violent situations. And the way the story was reported made it sound like they were actually going to arm these robots, right? Put guns on the robots.
Yeah.
And so there was, I'll show you. So KRON News, it's a Channel 4. I believe it's a NBC affiliate in the Bay Area. It says KRON News official. San Francisco police clarified that it would not arm robots with guns. Instead, they would be equipped with explosives. And then this guy named Spike Cohen says, "Oh, okay, no big deal then."
Yeah. Listen, as soon as I saw this story, all I could think was, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." It was RoboCop quotes just running through my head. I'm like, it's not a good. This is not good. This is going to facilitate Skynet and everything else. This is just going to cause the end of it. And now listen, I know that there's a couple agencies around the country that do this kind of thing, and what they do is they have a shotgun, a short shotgun on it with one shot, and it goes up to the door and will breach a door where they know, there's an armed guy, threatening to kill cops, kind of stuff. And that's what they're talking about with the explosives. They're saying they're going to take it, and we do this now. If there's a bomb, rather than make the bad guy go over it. By the way, the way you defuse a bomb, it's not like you do it on the movies where they cut the green wire and then cut the red wire.
Right.
you explode it, right? So rather than walk out there and somebody tape explosives to it, the robot puts the explosives there. Well, that's what they're referring to, and also using those little bit of explosives to place on a door to breach a door lock. Now, this is not blow the whole door down. This is to disable the locking mechanism so they can come kick through.
Yeah, you got to be.
Still, you got to do this story
that's
right.
the thing.
Information the right way.
Right, exactly. Because I was like, okay, that doesn't sound good. I keep thinking of the same movie, but it's like they get points of guns and it goes, you have 10 seconds to comply.
That's it. Yeah. But wait, I'm on your team. You have 5 seconds to comply.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, especially if anybody in the state of California has anything to do with the technology, it's going to be screwed up.
Yeah. It's horrible. I mean, the way they released this, it sounded like, I got bipedal AI robots that are going to be carrying 45 kilos. No. They're talking about a little tiny robot remote control. It's like a remote control car with a hand grenade on it. We're just going to put that next to the bomb and blow it up.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't make for a good headline.
No, it does not. No, it does not. Yeah, they completely screwed the pooch on this one. This was not one of the normal AP, CNN, bury the lead kind of things.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. Well, hey, that's we're about close to wrapping it up for this week. So let's go ahead and give that shout out once again to our sponsors.
There we go. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. They've got rifle and pistol calibers available in rifle and pistol length. Get your AR rifle and barrel that you need at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you reach out to them as they contribute to help you turn it a little bit more red there every time. You've got some awesome field gear, tactical gear, hunting gear. It's hunting season. Go out there to uscombatgear.com. And again, holiday season's upon us. Hog Holsters, HAWGholsters.com. The best concealment holsters on the market, bar none. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and start your Christmas shopping now.
Now is the time. Don't wait. Go there now. Right now. Right. Well, okay. Well, let us log out. Let us close out first. Then go there. So when the thing comes up, credits are rolling. Then you go. On that note, thank you guys so much. Oh, there you go. Yeah, if you got dual screens, you don't even have to wait. You can just bam right now. Just click the link right now. Do it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you folks for tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We hope you have a fun and safe weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Fun day. Gun day. Holla.